Good morning and welcome to the midweek installment of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. This is where we talk about things happening in and around your space right here in Nigeria and as it affects you in the world. It is really a delightful time to be here. We're super glad. We appreciate your faithfulness to this particular station, WSTV. And this is Morning Spring, where we serve you the headlines, making the waves on the different dailies, and then bringing you quality analysis from the mouths of our analysts right here. My name is Temitope Ajijola Oluwola, and it is 17th of December. It is the 17th day of December, year 2025. We're looking forward to the festivities, right? Several people have been, experiencing the festivities already. Children having the Christmas parties and all of those. And right, it is a time to be merry. And yes, we're spreading that joy, that particular spirit also from here. Thank you for joining us today. Femi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Temitope. How do you do?
How do you do?
Very well. We are back here to do what we do, talking about the U-turn. It's upon us. The weather is gradually changing already, showing a bit of harmattan in a kind of way. But then it's good to be back here. Femi Ojo is my name. On Morning Spring, we look into very critical issues of public importance. And at the other side of that, or before that rather, we then get to let you into what the front pages of our dailies look like every day. That the aim is to have you informed and of course being updated about issues around you, events not too far away from you, or development that truly is important to you. That is why we are here to do this every day, 7 a.m. every weekday. Today, it's going to be a bumper one as well, because in as much as about the public good, if it's worth talking about, this is where you get to hear it from. And of course, we say it as it is on Western Spring Television. Actually, so many things to look into, the issue of Mr. Farouk Ahmed, the NMDPRA boss that have been alleged heavily, accused of, possibly living beyond his means by the chairman of Aliko Dangote, Petrochemical and Refining Company, Aliko Dangote, the businessman, is really hotting up, in which 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we heard that it was 2 days ago that Aliko Dangote had a press conference at his office, actually at his company, the refinery, where he made those allegations. He was very categorical, about his claim. And the inference is, maybe saying the regulators, and in this case, the ombudsman, who is the chief regulator, NMBPRA, is a problem in the ecosystem, talking about the pricing, And he said he will do whatever is in his capacity to make sure the price of fuel per liter is not beyond 700 naira. Everything that is going to do, and casting Farouk Ahmed in that light to say he's a problem, and he should be investigated. And he went so far to talk about the man's taking care of his family, if you call it that, the amount he spends, on secondary school education of 4 of his children. He even mentioned the country, the school, and the level and figures, and many persons are wondering, this, is not really reminiscent of what Aliko Dangote is known for. Before this petroleum company and the refinery and this oil sector involvement of his, many persons might not really identify what the voice of Aliko Dangote looked like before he ventured into this oil and gas. And the moment he came into the oil sector, the man has been, parroting like a high clinging sound of a vuvuzela, actually, at everybody. But this latest And yesterday, as all of a sudden, there was a graphic, of what he talked about 2 days ago, in which he highlighted the names of the children, the school they attended, according to him, the money is paid, and all of those things. And he said, ICPC, you must probe this man, or whoever it is. And of course, I saw a report that the ICPC have said, whoever needs to be probed will be probed, bring it on. And is Farouk Ahmed versus Aliko.
Yeah. I mean, that last part was what I wanted to emphasize on, the fact that, yes, this is not something this particular man is known for. And for it to be coming and seconded to by his friend, those are things that are really, really not things, yes, that we know them for their own common. Yes, yes. Yeah. And so to have been posted, exactly. So I think it's a new era in the administration of Nigeria and all of our public offices. And the fact that, right since not even the inception of the plant, since before it came into, since before it started running, there has been several issues around, the running of that refinery. And the fact that there are some things that he said that are really deeply concerning. And the fact that he said that there are more security on that plant than actual staff, on that plant. It's deeply, yes, it's deeply concerning. And that's coming through, the point of sabotage. And it talks about the fact that things as little as wires are being taken. And then you ask, what are you doing with this? And so all of those issues, but the major thing here is spotlighting a public office holder and the fact that it may have been complicit in all of the issues around sabotaging, around exploitation and all of this. So it's quite interesting, and we hope that the necessary quotas, the authorities vested with this particular duty of investigating and prosecuting will really do the job and see to the end, because Nigerians are really watching, international community as well, because this man who has brought up this is tied to the international community, and they're going to be watching to see how this is going to be done.
Well, by every means and standard, Aliko Dangote, take it or leave it, or add it up as well, is a global man.
Yes.
So whenever you mention his name, you get to have the ears of the word, listening to whatever is happening.
Right.
That's on one side. And, it's that is an angle, from Aliko Dangote.
Yes.
The man we learned, Farouk Ahmed, has responded and given explanation to some of those things as well. And he said, whoever wants to probe, let them probe. But he's talking about how he, heading, one of the agencies that regulate, will not be cowed. Because, and that might resonate with some persons who think Aliko Dangote, in some narratives, has monopolistic tendencies. Actually, that he has done it. In fact, some will say, whatever business Aliko Dangote is doing, and he's not the number one, he doesn't get to do it for long. Whatever market he cannot capture and monopolize and dictate, whatever business it doesn't do well. And then you talk about his food business and all of those things, dancer, Dangote juice, noodles, and all of those things that he didn't do well, because some of those manufacturers didn't budge. Whatever I was bringing, they were ready, especially this spaghetti business, noodles business, juice business, that he did all of those things. But there are some persons, big names that you and I know, who didn't budge, who whatever he was bringing, they were giving it to him, and he had to withdraw and sell that part of his business. And that is what they say, that is what he wants to do. And there is a job to be done by the regulator to say, let everybody have a clean slate of doing their business, but you will not monopolize. It's good to be the big guy, but you will not dictate. There are some persons that have that narrative as well to say, it's just, why is Aliko Dangote taking it so personal? Right? You could have accused the man and all this financial impropriety. Why print out the names of the man's children? Some would think, how far is too far in this particular case? And for those saying those things, if you are to get the names and schools and details of the man's family members in this allegation of yours, it should be in a petition, actually, to people who that should concern. If it's the police you are petitioning, if it's the SEC, if it's the ICPC. Some believe your issue is with Farouk Ahmed, right? Why bring his family into all of this? If the names of those family members, if the school they attend, their age and all of those things matter in the scheme of things, it should be to the petitioners. It should not be made unnecessary public. That's narrative for some persons. And some will agree to say, leave a man's family out of it. But if by virtue of investigation, it has to get to them, it shouldn't have been publicized. Now, those persons might be an object of target by some persons. That's some persons' narrative as well. But then we will talk about it as it is. And everybody will have their angle and opinion on this matter. Some think it's a price war. And you know, when you check that particular press conference, that was a place in which some will say, Aliko Dangote appears to be arrogant in a kind of way, because I saw the stretch. He talked about CNG buses. That some are complaining that he has 4,000 CNG buses and he's a part of doing his business. And many persons have been complaining. Let everybody play big. If marketers, his competitors, will have other things to, match whatever he's doing, he said as well, he has 10,000 CNG buses that will roll out again. And, one would say maybe that's a confident businessman there. Some will say that's an arrogant man there. You just want to capture this market. And so why are we oscillating between 809, 890, 901? And the moment you're having these issues, all of a sudden you're saying you're crashing it to 700 naira. For them, I'm sure Nigerians don't really care. In fact, if some persons are fighting, marketers versus Dangote, Dangote versus NMVPA, in fact, Dangote versus Tinubu, if there's anything like that, if it's going to cost the prices or the price of fuel per liter to be 100 naira, Nigerians will say, you people should continue with your fight. Let it be 100 naira. But the sustainability of these issues, is really what many persons are concerned about. Everybody wants the cheapest price available by quality.
Well, from my angle, the way I see it is when we're talking about monopolizing a particular market, I think that, yes, this authority, the NNDPRA now in this case, should do whatever it is that it should do. But when someone is talking about crashing the price of something, I don't think that's coming from a place of monopoly. And if you're talking about making life bearable for Nigerians, that's what Nigerians will stand for, and that's not monopoly. But if you're talking about keeping it at a particular, we've seen the trajectory of this whole situation, and at first several people were seeing it in that light, but in the light that it is right now, I don't think, and many Nigerians are not thinking that this is monopoly speaking. When monopoly is speaking, it's about taking charge of the market, it's about owning the market in a way. But we're talking about, let's crash the price of this. Let's bring it to an affordable, rates for people. You've said it, that it's been roaming around 900, 800, 900 and all about, that range. This is not monopoly here, but we're going to be hearing from analysts right here who are seeing things, or other people who see things more from an insider point of view. And for the names of children, or these children, while they're not minors, at least majority of them, that's for one. Two, these names are already in the public space. It's not about printing their pictures. I think that's where we begin to draw a line about putting children or supposed minors in the public light. These are names, and these are their schools. They're in the public domain. I mean, if you could have gotten those, they're in the public domain. So let's not begin to be sentimental about issues. Let's speak to the facts. But whether it should have been made public the way he named them, we'll also hear from analysts or from legal practitioners at those. But talking about printing of names and schools and tuition, those are public domain information, things that anybody with internet access or, better information can get.
Well, I'm not sure. As we hit the bricks now, this is whatever we speak to here is the echo of whatever is in the public space, and it's not really about being sentiment. I'm sure before now, if you Google the name of those guys.
This is Nigeria, and we're talking about how Nigerians can be. Nigerians are the ones who would bring a matter to the table. It's still Nigerians who would dissect things. So we're talking about sentiments of Nigerians. Everybody with internet space can say whatever it is they want to say, and that's what we're talking about, sentiments.
And it's valid.
Bringing about, yes, your sentiments to you can always be valid. That's why people have opinions. But we're going to be talking to analysts on the show who will talk, to basic issues and points.
Well, that will be in the coming days, by the way. But there are other issues to be talked about. The man, Muhammadu Buhari, whatever happened in his days and whatever he portends for the public space, we're going to look into that. But for now, the newspaper segment is next. You are about to be better informed. Stay with us. All right, the newspaper segment is next. PDP rallies ex-governors, ex-ministers. That's about 2027. PDP rallies ex-governors and ex-ministers on the health scene. AI now decodes sweat for early sign of disease. AI now decodes sweat for early sign of disease. All right, besides that, you have the picture of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Kodoso, with the president of the U.S. Africa Business Center, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in the U.S. All right, and how mafia relatives held Buhari captive, manipulated him. How mafia relatives held Buhari captive, manipulated him. And for 80 years, there's a rider to that. For 80 years, he had wrong people in right places. For 80 years, he had wrong people in right places. Aisha explains. All right, top strip. MBA slums police over tinted glass permit enforcement. MBA slums police over tinted glass permit enforcement. And NLC to hold protest over rising insecurity today. NLC to hold protest over rising insecurity today. That will be about it as far as Nigerian Tribune is concerned.
All right, now moving to the Punch newspaper. But the banner headline here says, insecurity, police deploy special forces ahead of NLC protest today. Police deploy special forces ahead of NLC protest today. And the rider, NLC defies pressure, mobilizing state chapters. Police lock down flashpoints. CPs meet labor leaders. All right, and below that, page 9. Blackout looms as gas shortfall hits power stations. 154 billion naira student loans disbursed in 19 months. 154 billion naira student loans disbursed in 19 months. That's according to Now Fund. And it's on page 14 of Punch newspapers right there. And below, that's the bottom strip of the paper. 2027, ADC State Chairman lock hands over Congress. 2027, ADC State Chairman lock hands over Congress. On page 14. Still on page 14, massive arms cache uncovered in Kogi. Massive arms cache uncovered in Kogi. And right here on page 9 of Punch newspaper this morning, Transcar Hotel appoints Awele Elumelu as board chair. Transcar Hotel, right, and then to just beside the nameplate, Patrol Battlefield, ICPC plans NMDPRA bus probe after Dangote petition. The top strip of the paper, federal government recorded 30 trillion naira revenue shortfall in 2025. That's according to Edu. Federal government to acquire 24 fighter jets for 1.2 billion euros right there. That's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper this morning. On page 7, U.S. adds Nigeria to travel restriction list. U.S. adds Nigeria to travel restriction list. Right, those headlines making the face of Punch newspaper this morning.
On the Punch newspaper, let's take a look at the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust today. Labour rallies against insecurity. Labour rallies against the insecurity. And, just below that, Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo, alongside, there is a picture there, alongside the security personnel inspecting arms and ammunition recovered from criminal hideout in the state yesterday. Really? These are Kalashnikovs, all right? And of course with pump action as well. And then you wonder, this is what some persons possess. Of course, you don't use Kalashnikovs, AK-47, 49 to wash clothes or for picnic. Definitely. It can only be for nefarious activity. The moment it's not in the right hand, definitely, it can be for any good purpose as well. You could see live rounds as well in that place. And it is not right just about recovery of these weapons alone, but how about getting who owns them and actually the ones who sponsors them? Because it's not just about some of those guys who carries the gun. Some will tell you there are the bigger guys, who sponsor some of these insecurity that we are seeing in the public space, be it insurgency, banditry, stealing, armed robbery. I'm sure Nigerians will not want to think that there is no more armed robbery. It's still happening. People are still stealing. People are still waylaying others at gunpoint, collecting their possession, and it's as terrible as that as well. All right, I think there's a breakthrough, but they should take it further. All right, ICPC, but just below that, ICPC to probe Dangote's allegations against NMB-PRA boss. All right, that's more like bring it on. And former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko, takes final bow. And we talk about final bow. He has passed on. The man died from Bauchi State. He took over, in various controversial circumstances. I remember he took over from Water Onohe. And the circumstance in which Water Onohe was relieved of his duty, all of those things, and he came into the picture, especially under Muhammadu Buhari. 3 years and some months, and he bowed out. I think he left, and then Justice Ariwola came in, and after Ariwola, we have Milord Kikereekun right now. Well, that's the end of every man, death. What will remain is the legacy. All right. If any man we have such a thing, and when people say, may posterity be kind to them, I'm not sure that's a good prayer, actually. I'm not sure it's a reasonable prayer. That's why it's called posterity. Whatever is left of you, that is what the posterity will show. It's more like a record on your story. But then, why I wouldn't try to discountenance such prayer, sometimes it depends sometimes who tells your story. That's very important, because many stories have been told in the time past, depending on who is saying it. And I think Chimamanda Adichie talked about the danger of a single narrative, actually. And most of the things that were written about Africa, especially in the last 100 years, were written by your captors. The people who don't belong to you. The people who have come to ransack whatever you are having. So whatever they write about you, it can't be the way it is. So that's why it's nice for everybody to document as much as they can while they are still here. A woman jailed 10 years for killing stepdaughter. Why? Right, horrible. Right, NBA police disagree over enforcement of tinted glass permit. We are back here in 2023. How Cabal plotted Lawan's installation as APC candidate, and why CBN revoked licenses of ASO Savings and Union Homes, and Rebs wading to detention of NAF, that's the Air Force, Nigerian Air Force aircraft, military personnel. Talk about till now, we haven't had, the news of these 11 soldiers that the Nigerian aircraft brought back. What is going on? It seems nobody is really saying something substantial at this time, and it's a shame, actually, for a Burkina Faso to ground Nigerian soldier.
While on their soil.
I don't dispute that. This is Nigeria. I just mean, we wouldn't know if they were national duty or international duties or illegal duties. But whatever be the case, somebody should be speaking to Nigerians. That's what I mean. And I think yesterday or 2 days ago or last week, you talked about the NSA in all of this matter. Beyond him being involved in political issues, this is one thing that has to do with you. Take a quick break right now. When we return, we speak to issues. And I talked about posterity earlier. You will get to have our narrative, the people's narrative, and the reason why, and what it means for the public space and the public good. That will be after now. Stay with us.